There we go. Hey, everybody. Welcome to our coffee and tea session. I'm so happy that you guys are a part of our tribe, the squad, the cafe, whichever way you want to put it. I'm just happy that you guys decided to come and join us again for another session. And tonight we have some great conversation in store for you this evening. And I have some really great friends of mine. They've been guests on my show before, but I feel like tonight's going to be a little different because the conversation is going to be a little different. So, first, I'd like to bring in, he is my brother, he is my friend. He married my homie, and they have been inseparable for the last 15 years. And I have been so excited to witness so many firsts with them. My brother, Derek Barnes. Hey, Derek. Uh, unmute yourself, boo. There you go. I'm good. How are you? I am so excited that you decided to jump on board with this conversation because it's going to be a good one. All right. As you guys remember, he is the co owner and chef of Soup Solutions. He is also a great author. His book, The Science of Manhood, is a great read. So if you haven't had a chance to get a copy of it, get on that, contact him, get him to wherever you are so you can get a copy of that book. If you have any young men in your life, get the book for them. If you are a part of any projects that have young men, get him in there to talk to these young men about the science of being a man. Amen. All right, let's get in our second set of guests. One of them is one half of the dynamic duo that is Two Fat Guys podcast, as well as his beautiful wife, the moderator of said same podcast. We're bringing in Kevin and Viva Gross. Hi, guys. So glad that you guys decided to join us. Viva was my first drop the mic. So I appreciate that, Viva. B. Lord, did I transition y'all? Am I talking to
There
myself?
we go.
Yo,
There
y'all
we go.
excuse me. This new technology in my life.
Luckily, I had the
Luckily,
same.
Kevin also uses the same set of technology. So though I was talking to y'all and did the whole intro,
Right,
uh,
like you brought brother Derek up, and I'm like, we just still see you,
y'all just see
and
me.
I double checked with the phone. I was like,
That's
Lord
what's up.
I don't
mercy.
see the transition on the phone yet. Let me. When she bring us something like, did you bring us over?
Lord have mercy, Jesus.
Caller.
Anyway, it's still going to be a good conversation. Amen. Uh,
Amen.
You gotta remember he attacking.
I know he is, and I am very thankful for it. So let's just jump right into this conversation. So let me explain to you guys how this came about. I was having a conversation with one of the guys at church, and he was making a comment about how, women are so independent these days, and that, you get in trouble as a man if you pull out a chair or like open a door for women today. And I was like, is chivalry not a thing? And he was, talking about how the roles in relationships aren't the same as what they used to be. So it kind of sparked the question, are gender roles still a thing? So let me ask you guys this question. It's 2025. People are in all different types of relationships. Do you guys think that gender roles play a major part in those relationships?
I think it depends on which generation you come from, because I'm sure brother Derek. can agree with me, and forgive me if I'm speaking out of turn on you, brother Derek. But I think we come from a culture where you open the door for a woman, and not just your lady, but any woman. You don't let your lady walk on the side of the street that's closest to the curve. You have her on the other side. You know, so I think it's a generational change. And because now you do have, and this, I'm just talking, I'm not saying independent women per se, but you do have a lot of young women who are just like, I could do me. I don't need you to do me. If I want to open the door for myself, I can open the door for myself. It's not about chivalry. It's just about me being just a polite individual. That's how I was raised. I'm supposed to open the door for you. Not saying that you're less than me, but I'm showing you respect as a woman to open a door for you. Now, my wife and I, we've been together on and off, but been married going on 10 years just this July. And somebody actually asked me, do I still open the car door for her? And I said, not all the time. But if we're going out and it's a date night or something of that nature, then yes, I will open the car door for her because she's my date. That's what you do for your date. You open the car door for your date. And sometimes I have to tell her, don't get out. Let me open the door for you because she goes in automatic mode to open the door. So I really just think it depends on what generation you come from.
Okay. Derek?
Man, awesome points. I agree with brother. Great deal. And yeah, men should still open the door. As he said, you should take the position of the street side as opposed to having the lady in your life, your guest, your female counterpart on the street side. All right, these are more ways that we've gotten away from. And I'm sorry, like brother said, we're from that culture, we're from that old school, and not necessarily old school. It's about your mannerisms, man. It's about what makes you better. And she said, like Brett Kevin said, women say, I can open my own door. You sure can. I can get my own car door. You sure can. But it sharpens my skills and my awareness as a man.
Mm-hmm.
It helps me to stay in the line of manhood and demonstrating manhood behavior when you allow me to do such. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And like Gabe said again, I mean, these are things that have gotten away from us. And we have all of these communities, no disrespect to anyone, but they want to rob society of such and make a man feel uncomfortable for wanting to do these things, coming up with this simp culture and all of this foolishness. We don't have enough men like a brother Kevin. You understand what I'm saying? In the community, being mindful, the exits and pulling out chairs and so forth, and just being willing to be there in a place of danger. Even if it would be gone, taken that far. But
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying these communities want to rob society of a man taking a man's position because there is a position for men, and we'll go deeper into that. I definitely want to hear more what your guests have to say, and I agree.
And I think to that point, I think there's something lost in the translation from generation to generation. I
Right.
think that, with our grandparents, it definitely was a thing, but our grandparents also courted one another and they asked their parents, for dating, their daughters and all of those types of things. They went to the fathers and asked for their daughter's hand in marriage and all of those things. So the level of the weight of the relationships were different, and a lot of that stuff didn't get passed down because you know not to get into systemic racism and things like that, where a lot of our black men end up in the correctional system and out in the streets with all the violence and the drugs, so you missing the fathers in the home and all of those types of things. But it's just not being taught as a community kind of
Right.
a situation. There aren't, you know, uncles and cousins or like people in the church sometimes, community leaders and things like that that don't create the spaces to be able to teach young men these types of things. But that's a whole nother show. Um, Derek, you brought up the simp situation, um, and for a lot of people that has to do with like the masculinity of a man in a relationship, and that if they do something nice for the lady that they're dating or the lady that they are in a committed relationship with, or for their wife for that matter, it's seen as a sign of weakness in a man. Like let's kind of talk about that with the gender role. Like I don't think people are assuming that a man is being feminine, but like, why isn't it okay for men to show emotion and be like nice to the women that they date?
May I?
Yeah.
Because I don't want to lose that point. Um, yeah, that whole simp culture, that whole situation is it comes on the cusp of technology. Technology is a tool that has been used to scramble the thinking and scatter the minds of individuals so that they can't focus. And we don't have enough men in our communities to be calling simps and labeling simps. We don't have enough men opening doors and laying down their lives and their behavior and looking towards courtship to all of a sudden create a lane and call it simp. We just don't have that. Now, how does simp fit in the Korean culture? You understand what I'm saying? The Mexican culture, the Caucasian culture for the most part. You know, you go to other nationalities and talk that simp behavior to them. You know, but we are the ones who are lacking the wisdom and the knowledge of and the science behind courtship, as you mentioned before. And I'm gonna make it short because I want to hear more of what Cam and his wife has to say. Um, we don't we shy away from courtship, and as you said, meeting, using myself as an example, meeting my wife's father, meeting her brother, and asking for her hand in marriage. See, this creates accountability, right? You see what I'm saying, Burkhead? You know what I mean? This creates accountability, holding you responsible. But when we don't have courtship and we don't have men meeting the fathers and meeting the mothers, then when we get behind closed doors and I start mistreating you, there's a small outcry.
Mm-hmm.
But when you go through a courtship, such as I have, you have people holding you responsible who lay down their lives for her protection, and I'm held responsible to that level of care. You know what I mean?
Kevin, Viva, what would you guys say about the simp situation? Don't look at me.
Come
Oh,
on.
No,
we going through this again.
no, you're not.
Well, I don't have my popcorn, but I'm waiting.
Um, so it's kind of like what Naeem just said in the comments. Is sometimes we replicate what we see, but I know personally I never seen my father show an emotional side.
Hmm.
Like I know he loved my mother, he would kiss my mother, he would hug my mother, but I never seen my father really show an emotional side because that's the cloth he was cut from. That's the era that he came from. My father was born in 1930, so growing up in that era, men didn't show emotion because they wasn't allowed to. But the question I ask any man: if you can't be emotional with your woman, then why are you with her? I as a man, I have to be hard all the time. I have to present a certain image as a man all the time when I'm in public, especially as a black man. I can't be too hard because I might scare somebody. But I can't be too soft because then somebody might want to try me. But if I can't be vulnerable to the woman that I'm married to, or the woman that I'm courting, or the woman that I lay down with, then why am I with you? I can't be hard all the time. It's an emotional and mental toll that we go through as men. So you mean to tell me with you, the woman that I could be nasty with, I can't be intimate with emotionally? I can't show that soft side of me because you think I'm a simp? Or you may think I'm a simp? I don't care what my boys think because I'm not with them. I don't date them. I don't go out the way for them. I go out my way for you.
That's right.
So I should be able to show that side.
For me, is I've seen both sides where they argue, where they're nice, because I was raised by my grandparents. So, and then my aunt, I've seen the ugly. It's basically I've seen both sides: the happy, the sad, the in between, where they open doors, they slam doors.
So let me ask you this as my helpmate. Do you think when I show a soft side of me is weakness?
No, not at all.
Do you think as a woman, any man that shows that is weak?
Nope, not at all.
Why?
Some people want, some people are going to show it out in public. Some people not, because they think they are weak.
But why is it okay for a man to show? Why is it okay for me to show you that soft that side of me? Honestly,
Because I know you can do it. I've seen you do it.
okay.
I've seen you do it. So I know you can. You're not going to hide it. You're not going to hide it from anyone, honestly.
So I'm gonna get back to. I'm sorry to interrupt you. I'm gonna get back to Naeem's comment, but I think this is kind of where you all are going with Keisha's comment, where it says there needs to be balance between the masculinity and the soft side.
Absolutely.
I think that I think the word vulnerability gets thrown around, and I think people don't really understand what it means not only to be vulnerable, but for someone to feel safe enough to be vulnerable with you. And I think for men that they don't really get to have the spaces to be vulnerable,
Can I
not necessarily just with the woman that they are with, but they don't get an opportunity to be vulnerable with each other as men. And this is just a plug for Dating University. They did a podcast last night where they had an author who wrote this book that talks about men being able to create those spaces for themselves so that they can have that level of camaraderie. And I think if more men had that, that the simp situation wouldn't be like a big thing. Because I see more men call other men simps than I do women calling it. And I think we as women just follow a bandwagon sometimes.
can I
With
say something?
that. Go ahead.
If you trust me enough to go out here and bust somebody upside the head for you because they disrespected you, why can't you trust me enough to be vulnerable with you?
Because that's strength. That's physicality. That's the definition of masculinity for some women
Right.
versus you being able to be what a lot of women would consider being feminine because their thought process for a man is men don't cry, men don't share feelings. How they show their feelings is, they provide and they protect. That's what they do.
Which
I
is
don't believe
crazy
in that
because
philosophy, but that's some people.
no, and it is, and you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right because I remember having a conversation with a young lady. This was years ago, and she was like, "Yeah, if I'm with a dude, he saw," and she literally said, if she met a guy and they was talking and he starts crying like watching a movie or something, she's like, "Oh, he's weak." It's an emotional scene. Like he's not supposed to have emotions, so you automatically think because you see a tear come out the man's eye, he's weak. But it's the same weak man, the same guy you call weak that you want to go down the street and bust a dude upside the head because he disrespected you. You can't have it both ways.
We all got feelings.
Either
We
you,
all should show 'em.
Like again, y'all shedding the light. That balance is key. It's a balance. It's two sides to everything. You know, and we have to understand that these traits must be exercised strategically. And there's times for a vulnerable side. There's time for a more stern side.
Hmm.
And
Right.
you are rewarded and admired as a man when you are able to make that decision intelligently. Now he made, Kevin made a point about having to deal with somebody physically. All right, that ain't when you exert your softer voice. That ain't when you're as calm as you are on movie night. You understand what I'm saying? Your voice go up a few octaves. You change your stance. Your breathing pattern changes. Your distance, your personal distance change. All right, that means that you're in a different environment, and it's not to be misconstrued with date night.
No.
Dinner. You feel what I'm saying? So we have to know when to execute these things and use the balance as like my wife stated. We have to be mindful when to use it, and that's a problem too, because coming up without fathers, without a manhood figure in our life to show us and guide us and show us when, how to move, how to achieve balance and a firm handshake and so on and so forth, and how to change your tone in different environments. No one's working with us with that. Some of us completely miss out, and some of us get it in other places. But there's a large amount that go without, and they have not been taught how to utilize that balance.
Now, see, that's funny because with me, it's I have two sons and a daughter, and I taught my sons how you talk to a woman, how you approach a woman. And my oldest son, God bless him, I love my oldest son to death, but I recognized something in him a long time ago, which is the same thing I had in me for a very long time, which is anger. Like he would pop off and and dealing with his girlfriend, he would get extremely angry. And I would tell him, if she's making you that angry, that fast, you shouldn't deal with her. And that's also something that you need to check. Because I had to have a reality check with my anger. And ironically, towards the woman that is sitting here next to me. I really had to have a reality check with my anger because I wasn't taught how to approach certain situations with the woman in my life. So as I got older and I had boys, I taught them like this is not how you handle a situation with a woman.
Right.
It
Some
is literally better for you to walk away, hang up the phone, let her be mad because you hung up. She call you back, don't answer the phone. Because you both need to understand that somebody needs to take a step back.
Hmm.
sometimes you don't learn from your parents, your grandparents, your aunt, uncles. Sometimes you learn things on your own.
Right. I mean, that was the situation for me. I had to learn on my own. Like, not saying that my father was a mean man because he wasn't. My father was a very humble man,
Quiet.
quiet. But that's after he found God. So that was before I was born. So before he found God, I've heard stories, and so. But my mother was the loud one. My mother was the confrontational one. My mother was she was from Harlem, but that's because she had an abusive father. So her mechanism, her triggers was to automatically be on the defense. And I picked up that trait from her. But then as I got older and having kids, I realized that's not going to work because my sons are going to pick that up. And unfortunately, one of my sons did. And I realized, and that's when I really started to understand what generational curses was. So now I have to take a step back. I have to teach my sons how to approach a woman. And I have to teach my daughter how to be approached by a man. Especially in this day and time, because it's, hey, shorty, what you doing, B? Let me talk to you real quick. Well, you cute. Oh my God, you cute. Stop. That's a boy. And I get it. You 16, you 17. That's what you going to get. But when you get older and they still talking like that, do you really want that dude in your life? Do you really want that person to be the guy that you call your potential husband? Because if he's still stuck like that, that means he never grew. And that's one of the things I had to learn as a man in a relationship. In my gender role, I have to grow.
Yeah, and Courtney's giving you some backup with that, saying that some people just didn't have the right types of people to teach them,
For
or
real,
show them how to be in a relationship. So let me put this caveat out there, since we're talking about vulnerability and vulnerability from a male's point of view. Do you think that men not being allowed to be vulnerable hurts the relationship, or does it hurt like one partner in particular?
I think it can hurt the relationship because now I can't be genuine with you. So by me not being able to be genuine with you, it's going to affect both of us because you're going to realize. See, y'all have what's called women intuition, which is just a nice way of saying y'all have a bullshit detector built in. That is just a nice way of saying that. Okay, women's intuition is a BS detector. So you're going to start to realize at some point I'm not fully in this because I can't be who I need to be around you. So it's not just affecting me, but now it's affecting you because now you're probably thinking, what am I doing wrong? Why can't he connect to me? Like, whatever. Because somewhere along the line in that part of the relationship, I was vulnerable and you rejected it. You may not have realized you rejected it because sometimes we'll do stuff self-consciously. And when we receive it, it's like, oh, I can't be this way around this person now. So now you're starting to realize, like, why can't we connect? So it's going to affect not just the person, but it's going to affect the entire relationship because a conversation was never had that should have been had about vulnerability. Like, hey, I came to you one day and you looked at me like I was crazy. What was up with that? And it depends on how she answers. She goes, I didn't recognize that. I didn't realize that. I'm sorry. Or, yeah, no, you a simp. I don't need that in my life. Now that I know how to carry you now. I know how to be around you now.
Right.
Because we had this conversation.
Mm-hmm.
This goes back to my original point. If I can't be vulnerable with you, then why am I with you?
Okay.
And
Yeah.
if I may, real quick, just like
Mhm.
if you don't release that anger, if you don't balance out and find a way to just release anger and stress in other ways, it's the same way with that softer side. If you're not as a man, if you aren't in a vulnerable space within your relationship where you can't reveal your softer side, that is also an issue. That can cause one to implode on themselves. That can cause a disturbance within an individual. So both of these situations call for signs of therapy. You'll find yourself in a deeper trench where you need such outreach. You know what I'm saying? For us, therapy to help you achieve balance in your masculinity and your softer side. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So, but it has to be done.
And I think therapy is getting a better rap than it used to.
Oh,
Um,
definitely.
because before,
I love us.
it was keep your problems to yourself. Don't tell no whole lot of people, about what's going on. And God forbid you go to the doctor and tell them, because they'll put you in a straitjacket or put you in a little padded room and leave you there. But I think as people are understanding the dynamics of relationships, that therapy piece is a bigger part
Right.
of it than what it used to be.
Can I
So
touch on something with
yeah,
that
go ahead.
real quick?
Yeah.
So we're all church folk on this meeting, this podcast right here. And I remember at one point in time it was taboo to mention therapy.
100%.
Like, oh no, just take your problems to God. I'm not saying God can't fix your problems, but there's a reason why God has given people certain abilities and certain and what's the word I'm looking for? Anointments to do certain things. There's a reason why God created mental health experts. Because let's remember, Jesus went through mental strain. Just being Jesus, he was crucified. Like that's a mental strain. Like you know that
Mm-hmm.
you're gonna die eventually. Has to weigh on your mental just a little bit, even if you are the Son of God. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
because he was still in human form. But the point that I'm making is that now it's almost accepted in churches, especially in black churches, but it's like, oh, because like my church, we had a whole discipleship class, a series on mental health and how the Bible talks about mental health. And we had a mental health expert come and join us. And I loved it because I'm not ashamed of it. I spoke, I had sessions with a mental health expert, and it helped me understand a lot of stuff that I was never taught, or or habits that had to be broken. Because my Viva would tell you that I used to carry a lot of weight because if something didn't go right in our household or something failed, like financially or whatever, something didn't happen, I carried that weight. So I wasn't taught to be, oh, it's okay if you fail.
Mm-hmm.
So if I failed, I felt like a loser. I felt like I failed my family. And that part of me, I could not be vulnerable with her because I didn't want her to think, oh, my husband's a failure.
And there was times I did know, I just didn't bring it up. I wanted him to come to me.
Why?
Why?
Yeah.
For the simple fact it might make him feel better. Cause like for me, with certain things, I had to learn to speak it out. If I couldn't speak it out or get the right words to speak it out, I wrote it out.
But once again, I come from a family, or not from a family, I was raised by a man who didn't show emotions. My father went to work, took care of his family. Went to work, took care of his family. It was almost, y'all seen the movie Fences and
Yeah.
the play Fences, and you know the infamous scene with Denzel. I was literally talking to somebody about this. The scene with Denzel Washington, he was talking to his son, and the play with James Earl Jones, when his son was like, "Do you love me?"
Oh yeah, when he was at saying like, I provide food for you, you got clothes, all
Right,
that stuff. Yeah.
right. It's like there's nowhere where it says I have to say I love you. But because of the way I was raised, it was like, okay. And I did question if my father loved me. But I realized his actions, him being there, him being around, that told me that he loved me. But at the same time, I could not express that to my wife that, hey, I'm suffering. Because my father suffered in silence. Because we had to. Because that's what we're taught. Men don't talk about their problems. And it's like what Brother Derek said, if you don't talk about it, then it becomes an issue. And then that can now become anger towards the very person that you love.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
And then it'll be resentment, and God forbid it becomes physical.
Right.
So go ahead.
Right. I
Go ahead,
mean,
Chris.
it's deep, and we have gaping holes, man. All
Mm-hmm.
of these are signs of gaping holes that are in us, and I'm not making it into a race situation, but uh, during the slave trade, man, so much was taken from us, and one of
Mm-hmm.
the key things that was distorted and never put back in place, and we were never reintroduced and reconnected with, was the science of mating. All of this is dealing with the science of mating, how to deal with those softer sides, how to retreat to higher thinking when things are elevated, like Brother Kevin said, knowing when to say when, knowing when to back off, knowing when to step up as a wife, when to fall back as a wife, because that's just as important.
Mm-hmm.
And again, on the therapy side, that even talking about therapy, or looking into therapy was considered a weakness at some time in such a foolish way,
Right.
and it caused our community to spiral deeper and deeper into darkness. You understand what I'm saying? And also, like a beautiful point that my wife made, it doesn't have to be a problem to get therapy. See,
Yeah.
we've been tricked out of this. The whole world has been revolving around us, and these children been growing up with therapists as long as they can remember. releasing their thoughts and their suppressed feelings, learning as young men how to balance their masculinity and their softer side. Young girls knowing how and when to execute their judgment and their thinking, and when to step in and when to fall back. You understand what I'm saying? So we've been tricked out of this situation, and it's a lot. It's a deeper situation. But again, I'm not turning this into a race situation. But I just have to go on the facts, and we have to understand that therapy is a gateway that can open up a whole nother level of a lifestyle.
Yeah.
You know, you mentioned brother Derek about how this generation, and I know my son Damon,
Mhm.
who was 20, and I remember having a conversation with him last year sometime, and I said I give credit to your generation with the fact that you guys are allowing yourselves to be vulnerable, where you can make music talking about your problems and how you feel. And sometimes I will say I think some people just overdoing it, or they just doing it for the fad because it's a fad. But there are people out here who now is like, you know what? I can create my own safe space because I'm not the only one that feels like I'm broken. So now I remember telling him that, and you're absolutely right. This generation is different. They can express themselves, and I love that. I love the fact that they can go, yeah, something's wrong with me, or you know what, I'm not for it today. I just need to chill.
Yeah.
I just need to curl up and next to my woman. And I also think it's like what Courtney said earlier, where she said how she tells
Mhm.
her significant other that she's his safe space. I feel like if you care enough for that man as a woman, then you should tell him, I'm your safe space. Tell him. Because sometimes that's all we want to hear. That's not saying that we're gonna bring all our problems to you, but just knowing that you my safe space
That's right.
makes me feel good. And
But
it
I
makes
think
me look at you different.
but I think too, it's not just saying it. Like I can say
Yeah.
that I'm your safe
Also show it.
and I'm not safe. Like I'm not a good space for you to be able to show, those feelings or those things that you're going through. I think it was either Naeem's comment or Courtney's comment that said some women need to like let men be men. They're so upfront in like taking charge of everything. And I get it. Some of us been single a long time and we're accustomed to doing it on our own. And when we get somebody who, wants to be the man to do, we don't let him do because
So
either he ain't doing it fast enough or he ain't doing it the way I want him to do it, or all of these types of things, and it then throws stuff out of balance.
it's
Mhm.
funny you mentioned that, and ironically, it was Courtney who I was having this conversation with months ago, probably like a month or so ago, when she was saying that her boy, the guy that she's dealing with, kind of gets agitated with her because she won't let him do things. And that's because she's been on her own for so long. She's been separated from her husband for so long that it's like she doesn't know how to now let a man in her life be the man in her life. And I was like, you have to let, if he's willing to help you, then let him help you. Because he knows, A, that's part of my role as your man. And B, I'm your man. So if I want to do this little small gesture for you, let me do this small gesture for you.
Mm-hmm.
But
It's
then also you gotta realize, granted, Courtney is my cousin. You gotta realize the way we were brought up, certain things we did on our own.
and I get that. I definitely understand that. But I'm saying I'm looking at it from like Chris said, a single woman's perspective. Like, like Chris emphasized on the fact that single for so long, you just used to doing certain things.
Mhm.
So now when you have somebody that's like, hey, I could take that load off of you. Let me take this part from you and help you with this. It's hard for women who's always been independent, I'm using air quotes, independent,
Right.
to just let go of something.
Yeah,
Right.
and
It,
and I put it in a little bit of a perspective. I had an issue with my bed frame when my bed frame broke, and I had to get a new box spring, and I had to get a new frame, and I had asked. Actually, a male friend of mine had said, um, Chris, let me help you do that. And I was like, cool. He was like, tell me when you get everything, and I'll come over and help. And I was like, great. And then I say, hey, I got everything, and you don't hear nothing, or hey, I'm too busy, or I had a long
Oh, I
day at
know
work,
who this
I'm
is, man.
tired.
I know
Um,
who this is.
so it's like, all right, then, well,
Here I
let me
go
do
again.
that. Like I need to go to bed, so let me
Okay,
go and let
Don't
me
want
put
to
this
sleep on the
stuff
floor.
together.
I
And
got
then
you.
then you get upset with me because I put the stuff together.
But
Which
see, in that situation, I get that because when I called you, you didn't come, you didn't respond. So what now? What now? What am I now to do? So I get that, but when you have somebody, when you call them and they actually respond, or they volunteer and come through, and you're still being hesitant towards them of letting them help you, then what
Right.
is he to think?
but
Well,
it's trained behavior.
it
It's happened
is.
so many times
It
that I've
is.
called somebody and they haven't come through, that when Mr. Would you go sit down and let me do it meets Miss Independent, it's the
Yeah.
clash.
Well,
It's the I'm now at this point, according to what these 2025 people are saying, I'm
mhm,
now in my masculine energy,
I feel you.
and somebody's trying to be the masculine person, and I'm not allowing them to be that way.
If I may, if I
Yeah,
may,
yeah.
um, we a lot of times we like to look at the situation when we see a man falling short or being reluctant to fall into his place. We say, well, maybe he didn't have a father in his life, or no one showed him. Well, the science is the same with the woman. You
Mm-hmm.
know, a lot of time, man, they coming up watching their mother have to hold everything down and move and push the envelope forward and be the one to take out the trash and put things together and put together their toys and so forth. Sometimes they only had that imbalance in their life, so that even when a man comes into a space, she doesn't know how to adapt. And another part is due to our absence and our irresponsibility to you all as women in the black community, not being on our posts and not being there like we are supposed to, and should not have and should have been. You understand what I'm saying? So it's just a conundrum of foolishness that just overtakes us.
Mm-hmm.
But as a woman, you need to, not saying you individual, but as women need to submit to womenhood training, just like men need manhood training.
Yep.
This is the only way that we can come together and move forward sensibly, and create that environment that is desired by God from us. You understand what I'm saying? We need help. We have to be rebuilt, retrained all over again. We think we got it, but these men and women are getting their directions from television.
Tell
Help,
my vision. Wow.
you know what I'm saying? Pop the balloon. Come on, this is where we at. We
Oh
can
my
speak
God, I hate that show.
and find love. You know what I'm saying? Denying a man that could possibly be the key to her situation, or a woman that can be the key to his situation because of the shoes he wearing, because she don't like the outfit he wore today, and it just constantly pushes us off of the mark. Now, I'm not saying that for everybody, but you and I know that that's the reality that we're dealing with. This is the society that is just shadowing everything. But yeah, when a woman is having a hard time grasping to a man that wants to come and do right by her, she does have to submit and pray and create an opening within her thinking and within her heart to fall back when a man has righteous intentions to do
Mm-hmm.
right by her. I'm not saying open the door for any damn body, because some of us as guys play a lot of games. They'll come and put that bed frame together because they want to know if we can work on it afterwards. I'm just being real. We're
Yep.
adults here.
Yep.
But at the same time, I'm talking about a man who's upright, who's striving to be that brother for you and be there to help you in a situation like that. But oftentimes we've missed the mark and we've misrepresented ourselves.
So I want to piggyback on comment that Courtney has at the bottom of the screen that says
Yes,
this is
sir.
why I have a problem with asking for help asking for help because when I do, I get disappointed every time. So I just don't ask and do it myself. I get
Mhm.
that and I understand that. But how do you know if you don't ask that person now? Because now you're grouping individuals, you're grouping an individual into a group of others. And especially if that person has said, I want to help you, let me help you. And you just assume that they're not going to help you. So that's where, for me, the disconnect comes in that situation. I don't have to worry about that with her, with Viva, because Viva knows. If you got a problem, bring it to me. Because if you don't tell me, then we can't get through it. You know? So that's why I was like, and because Courtney comment stuck out to me, was saying, and I get it. But if you have that person that's like, I want to help you, let me help you. And if I can't, if you come to me and I can't help you, I'm gonna tell you I can't help you with that. But let me find somebody who can, or let's try to figure this out together.
But I think too it stems on a comment that Keisha made a little while back about healing first before you step into the space of a relationship so that you can recognize that kind of stuff. Like I I I, I understand how Courtney feels because I don't ask for help most of the time neither.
And no, and you and I have had that and we're
Yeah,
strictly platonic friends. Like
yeah.
you're my sister. And I'm like, hey, what you doing today? Oh, I'm about to go catch the bus to go to the market. Heifer, I'm off. I live right the corner from you. Why
Right,
don't you just pick up the phone and ask me? And if I
right.
can't do it, I'm gonna say I can't come get you.
Hmm.
You know, I can't do it. But when you do reach out, and the last few times you reached out, I was able to help.
Yep.
And I know you've been to the market since then. So
Don't
perfect
dig on me
example.
like that, Kevin.
No, I'm going, come on now. But
Shut
that's what I'm
up.
saying.
I come for you.
Gotta come for you. Like perfect example. That's what I'm saying. Like, and there's no courtship here. You're strictly my sister. You're my sister in faith and my sister in blood. Like, you're my sister. So I'm like, why can't you pick up the phone and be like, hey, Kev, I need a ride to the market. All right, I got you. Or let me wrap up what I gotta do and I'll come get you. Or hey, I got discipleship training. I can't come do it today.
Mhm.
You see what I'm saying? It's that easy. But I also get when you so used to doing stuff, it's how it is. Because my mother was the same way. Even though my parents was married, I mean together for 13 years before they got married, my mother still did stuff on her own. And it took my father to tell her, you're married now. This is not just you. This is us.
Mhm.
So my father had to break my mother out of that independent mind frame. I keep using air quotes because I hate that term. Independent mind frame. Because it's not just you, it's we, it's us. It's plural, not singular. And I think sometimes it just takes that man to tell that woman, hey, we here now.
Mhm.
Not I'm here now, not you're here now, we here now. And I think some men, and like Brother Derek said, some men not taught that.
And
Some men are not taught to, and I hate to really use this word, but take command. If that makes sense.
mhm.
To take command on not saying controlling her, but just being a little assertive, like, I'm here. Like, you ain't gotta carry this by yourself no more. I know you're used to it. This is what you're used to, but it's about to be a new norm. And it's I think another person said that you gotta allow them to heal.
Yeah, that was Keisha's comment.
Okay, you gotta allow them to heal. But you have to be patient as they heal. And you just have to be reassuring. There we go. See, I
I
went to
agree.
college. I went to college. I know these words. You have to be reassuring to that person, like, hey, look, I know this is different for you, but I'm here. So whenever you're ready, I'm here. We can take baby steps. We can take minute steps. Whatever steps you want to go through, I'm with it. Because I'm here.
I agree, man.
And
I
and I
agree.
and I think to your point, this is what this is my spiritual dad, my pastor. One bad apple doesn't spoil the whole barrel. unless there's some ulterior motive to destroy future opportunities. So I
Amen.
think to your point is that we can't continue to perpetuate how we've been treated to the future people that encounter us. We have to fight our own thing to say, okay, this person, this is the first time I've ever asked Kevin to take me to the grocery store. I can't assume that Kevin's not going to be there for me.
Right.
I gotta, at least give him the opportunity to say no and to say no consistently. So then I can put you in that group. But if you're there, then let you be there. And I think to your point, Kevin, I'm not Kevin, Derek, that I wanted to shift the conversation to is about the whole social media aspect. So we got the pop the balloon, we got the 90-day fiance, we got all of the Facebook dating, so on and so forth. Like
I love 90 Day Fiance.
it's crazy show.
No,
So-
Married at First Sight. That is what Married at First Sight.
Craziest of shows. Like in the world of social media and like dating apps and all of that kind of stuff, do you guys still think that the gender roles are still prevalent, or have they kind of faded away when it comes to the social media aspect of it?
If I may, the social media environment that you spoke of in some of these shows, which, Kev, you ain't the only one. I've watched them. I'm not sitting here like I have not seen them. I don't apply them to my life.
No,
but
not at all.
You feel me? But I'm saying, what it does is it dumbs down your steps. You understand? These are women and these are men jumping full throttle into a committed, responsible environment, being 100% irresponsible. You understand what I'm saying? Pop the balloon, making life-changing decisions, permanent decisions on temporary issues. You know what I'm saying? So this is what it does. It robs you of your decision making. It ain't. That's why I called it television. You feel me? Because that's exactly what it's doing. And it takes a young man or young woman and just distorts their thinking to making these poor decisions. And I laugh, but it ain't funny when you got a homegirl and she tell you, "Hey, look, I'm getting married and I've only known this guy for 3 months." And she dead serious, and they setting a date. You looking at her like you can't fathom, how are you just meeting this guy 3 months ago and you about to. This is the damage of it. See, that's when it becomes a reality, and you start seeing the damages of this social media environment. Now, I'm not judging anybody. Love can be found anywhere, but it is not in your best interest to make permanent decisions on a temporary foundation. You don't do that. You got to allow a man to show you as a woman that he's one, responsible, that he's gainfully employed, that he can make tough decisions in tough situations. But you bypass all of that. Or he cute. Oh, he got good hair. Oh, she built like this.
I ain't got no hair. And I'm built like a tiger.
You know what I mean? And you walk down the aisle and you find out that this man that you refuse to do the homework on likes to fight behind closed doors, or vice versa. That's happening too. So
I can't personally speak on 90 Day Fiance. And just a side note, Courtney, you tripping. I'll bust your side of your head if you talking about going to first.
I know, I saw that. I would hurt her.
That's family, brother Derek. That's family. But I have watched Married at First Sight. Thanks to Viva. And I laugh. I laugh when these relationships don't work. Like, oh my God, he's not the person I thought he was. No, because you didn't know him. You didn't know him. How can you form an opinion on somebody the first time you see them is at the altar?
Right.
And I don't care if you do got experts. The one that trips me out the most in the show is the preacher. Like, dude, this goes against everything. In the covenant that you took, the covenant that you swore on. That a marriage is supposed to be sacred, sanctimonious. and you playing algorithm games.
There we go. With your
You,
life.
right, you playing algorithm games with people's lives.
I didn't
The
watch this whole.
Kev,
I
a
didn't
quick
watch.
point.
the season that made me stop watching is it was a guy married a girl. She was a virgin, Christian girl.
Chris.
She was a Christian girl raised in the church,
Uh-huh.
saved her virginity until she got married. The guy they paired her with was a complete douchebag.
A
He
Rick
got a
James.
girl, he got a girl pregnant before the show, didn't tell him to after the fact. So he already had a baby mother incoming. Talking about he didn't find her attractive physically, but still yet managed to have relations with her, consummated the marriage. And this is why I tell women, we don't have to have an emotional attraction to you to sleep with you. If no disrespect, but if he can get up, I can get in. It's that simple.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
All right. And sorry to be so brash, but it's the reality. We all grown on here.
Yeah.
And then was like, I don't want to be with her no more. And then on decision day, he's like, I want to be with her. And she was like, no. But these are the games that people play. If you knew, and this is me, and maybe my moral compass is different, but if I met somebody through that show and she tells me that she's virgin and I'm not physically attracted to you, why am I going to waste my time? So now it's just a notch on my belt. So now I done messed this girl up mentally and emotionally to the point to where she was even questioning God. Like, why would God put her in a situation like that?
Mm-hmm.
And the reality is, God didn't put you in that situation. God will never put you in a situation you can't handle. You put yourself in that situation, but not waiting on God. Because one of the things she said was she got tired of waiting.
Right. But like Pastor just said, man, he believes most of them are scripted, and it's true for viewership.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the minds that are absorbing it, though, Pastor, the minds that are absorbing it are taking this out into their lives and applying this 1, 2, 3 methodology to their lives.
As,
And they're embracing a man that they don't know, a woman that they don't know. It's just so I'm just saying that it has that level of damage, even though it's scripted.
Yeah.
but as a viewer, even if it's scripted, like you said, I'm taking it in because I don't know no better. Like, oh, I'm watching Real Housewives. And they tell you, I gotta act a fool on Real Housewives because that's how I get TV time. TV time equals paychecks for me. So the drama, you already know the drama's not real. But if you don't know any better,
Exactly.
you don't know any better, you would think it's real. You would really think that Nene Leakes is a butthole. But she's
Yeah.
one of the nicest people in the world.
Hey,
Sometimes.
man. Look, man.
Sometimes I met her in the airport. Sometimes.
She's
Sometimes,
not. Yeah, I've met her, and I disagree. Like the point made, like my
I mean,
wife
but you
made,
gotta also realize sometimes
like
image is perception.
microwave society.
Sometimes you gotta realize image is perception. So when you on TV all the time, being this particular way, when you in public, you may have to still put that performance on. So
Yeah.
when you don't know what the difference is because you was never taught the difference in real love versus manufactured love, you'll think, oh, they're really in love. Like Blueface and that girl that was from here. That wasn't love. I don't know what the Bloody Mary that was.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
Yeah, Blueface is a rap, and there was some girl from here, and they had a whole reality show for a while. Don't get me started.
So go ahead.
But I think to Keisha's point that it's the microwaveness of our society, and I've
Mm-hmm.
talked about this before that we are, and blame it on Disney, blame it on Universal, blame it on whoever, that we are taught through fairy tales and movies and all of those types of things that love happens in this timeline of a situation, and we have all of these hopes and dreams and plans and all of those types of things, and when those plans don't come to fruition, I'm not, my plan was to get married by 25 and to have my first kid by 26 and to have my second kid by 29 and career off the ground by 35 and all of these types of things. And when they don't happen, then it's well, I'm 45 now. Like, I gotta hurry up because if I don't hurry up, I'm not gonna have none of this. So then you get involved in all of this goofy stuff, like the pop the
Mhm.
balloon and the 90-day fiance, scripted or unscripted. It still gives you the euphoria of
It
this
Love.
can happen.
relationship. Yes, the happiness, the love, the all of these types of things. So it then, I think, creates like this false narrative in your mind, and then you play that narrative out in your actions, which then causes all of these issues in these relationships.
Right.
So
I think, but at the same time, I know when I was on your show previously, Chris, um, it was a merch. So I forgot what the topic was, but I remember saying that I always visioned my marriage to be like the Cosbys, and what I meant by that, and I remember explaining that the connection
mhm.
that Cliff and
Claire.
Claire, thank you, Claire had. Like they had a very personal and intertwining connection with one another. And it was an emotional connection. They could play, they could be serious. They knew when it was time to be serious, they knew it was the time to play, and they knew it was the time to be intimate and not just physically intimate. Like, it's just intimate in the whole uh, 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 the whole meaning of the word intimacy. And I think a lot of us, we don't know what that is. We don't recognize it because we never seen it. So you're talking about how, as girls, you're taught from Disney that the princess is supposed to be saved by Prince Charming, and you're supposed to get your glass slipper and some, happily ever afters,
These air quotes is killing me. But go ahead.
happily ever afters. That's what you're taught. That's what you see, and that's what you seek. Men, we're not taught happily ever afters. We're not taught that. We see it. We watch the same cartoons that y'all do, but they wasn't designed for us. We wasn't taught that we need to go save the damsel in distress. We were taught, you get a woman, you get a wife, you take care of that wife, you have kids, you take care of your kids, and you don't complain. You push through it.
But this is why women, they have a mind. They take in information one way. Males take in information another way.
Right.
Just to support what you're saying.
No, you're absolutely right. And thank you for that, because it is.
Right.
It's how we is what's it say, men are from Mars, women are from Venus?
Yeah,
Yeah. I ain't met one from Venus yet.
but
No,
but
but yeah, it's a difference in that. Yes,
it's,
sir.
it's,
It's a
it's a
style.
difference in that, because as a man, I expect my wife to be vulnerable. I expect her to come to me, or my significant other, if you're married or not married, whoever you're dating.
Mm-hmm.
I expect them to come. As men, we expect them to come to us with their problems, because we're fixers.
Right.
We're doers.
Mm-hmm.
We beat on our chest. That's primal instinct, because
Right.
that's what we're taught. But if it's time for us to be vulnerable, and like time creates that cohesiveness in a relationship, in a marriage, it does. But if you don't allow that time to happen, it's never going to happen. And then, yeah, you would never get that happily ever after in a marriage, or just in a relationship in general, because now you're like, what am I doing wrong? Because
You're
as
not
men, we're
working,
always going to question, what are we doing wrong?
not doing the work. They fooled us, Kev. They fooled us, Kev. Like she just said, we wanna hit the Facebook button and bam, happily ever after.
Right.
No, nobody talks to us about the work. And sometimes this is even in a lot of our spiritual houses.
It's
I
easy to
talk
swipe left. It's easy to swipe left.
easy,
It's easy
but
to
that's
swipe
our
right.
problem, though. That's our problem. But I ain't want to hold up the next question. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So it's two directions I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go in this direction, and I'm
I'm
gonna
ready.
turn back to it. So you touched on the intimacy
Touch.
piece, and I'm a push it a little further into the sexual dynamic of of a relationship
Mhm.
when it comes to these gender roles.
Right.
So like since somebody not vulnerable or somebody not speaking up, like how do these gender roles then, whether correct or incorrect, play into the level of intimacy that you have with somebody, and then the level of sexual dynamic you have in that relationship?
I guess the question should be: Are we making love or are we having sex? Because love making is a connection. That means that it's a level of intimacy there. That means I respect your body enough to pay attention to you. You respect my body enough to pay attention to me. See. That's intimacy. That's sexual intimacy. Because I pay attention to you. If we're having sex and I'm trying to be PG, if we just and there's no connection, there's no intertwining, just a bunch of bumping and grinding bars. But
I was getting ready to say, like, you rhyming today.
but that's what it is. It's no intimate connection.
And
And
what
see,
comes from that?
and the reality is, and I'm not, and it's very few women that can do this. I've come across some women that can do this, but men can have sexual relations with a woman and not have a connection. And not have a connection. But I've learned that if a woman gives you her body, there's a level of trust that she has with you. There's a level of comfort that she has with you. It's very few women I ever come across that's like, oh yeah, I could just knock a dude down and keep it moving. Very few. But you ask a dude, man, what? I had one at 12 o'clock. I had another one at 3 o'clock. I'm probably going to have one at 9 o'clock.
Mhm.
Because that's how we build. And it's sad to say, I was in that boat once.
Before me.
Chris know about my whore days.
I sure do.
But that's because I wasn't taught how to respect a woman's body and what it means for a woman to give you her body. So that's why I asked the question: Are we making love or are we just having sex?
Right. And intimacy carries over because how intimate are you when you're ready to lay down with a woman and you can't take care of her? See, it goes further. It goes a lot further. Why are you even laying with a woman that you cannot take care of, that you
Mm.
cannot assume responsibility for? But we get to it's showtime when the baby here. Now you're called to be serious. And this man had he barely had the wherewithal to get with you other than physically. Now you want him to be a father to a baby? But again, why are you laying with her, brother, if you are not gainfully employed? Why are you in this man's company and you don't know nothing about him, young lady? You understand what I'm saying? And this is our limited range of vision. We get sight and vision mixed up.
So I
You know what
think
I'm saying? Hold on,
as a
Bucket. One
father,
second, right? 1 second, right?
I'm sorry.
Excuse me.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yes, sir. And that's our main lack of focus. So it does slide right into what Kev is saying about making love and having sex. No one's training us. Again, here we are again with the training. We will never be able to escape that. We'll never be able to get away from that. A man must be trained and taught how to care for himself in order to be able to take care of a woman and care for a woman. And a lot of us bypass that and we've already wrapped ourselves around her and it's too late. There's two children here. And he ain't a good daddy and she ain't a good mommy. We late. We bypass the key points of development. So that's that intimacy part. Intimacy, not saying that you didn't say this, Kev. I'm just saying that it starts that much further back. And I don't need to be with her. I don't even I don't even have a resume. I don't even have a clean shirt to wear to an interview. What I look like, you know what I'm saying? Being realistic. But other nationalities, they are all around us, they think like that. They think like that, and their children, their community ain't ran over with the baby mother syndrome. And I'm not judging anybody, but you don't see a lot of Korean women talking about going, I'm my baby father over West Baltimore. No, you understand what I'm saying? Just that's our language in our mind because we're the ones lacking the structure and the fortitude to move forward properly, which thus creates an environment where love can be made.
I
Don't
think
try to
Courtney
make
feels some
love
kind
and
of
there's
way.
no love for self present.
Yeah.
Um,
Kevin.
So I'm laughing. I'm not laughing at Courtney's comment, but I'm like, I think she's feeling some kind of way. Uh, so I'm a father of a daughter, as I stated earlier, and none of the girls or women, females, whatever pronouns you want to go by, has fathers ever questioned me about my intentions with their daughter. But see, with my daughter, she and my daughter knows she can't bring no little boy around me. Cause I'm gonna be like, so what's your 5-year plan, son?
he
They
got
look
like 21 questions.
they looking at me like I'm crazy. Sir, I'm only in 10th grade, so that means you behind.
Oh,
You should
wanted
know
to
what
be
you're
in
supposed
it.
to be doing by the time you get to college. What major you gonna study in? Like, why you with my daughter? I'm supposed to, as a father, make you uncomfortable. I'm supposed to, as a father of a daughter, make you question, what am I doing? Why am I with her? Yeah, she cute. My daughter a little rough around the edges. She tomboy. She'll throw hands,
Quick.
but she's still a girl. So she's looking for something from you. And what are you going to give her? So I'm asking you, when my daughter's out with you, how are you going to treat her? Are you going to, if you going to let her walk in between cars, or you going to take her to the crosswalk? Are you going to open the door for her? See, these are questions that was never asked to me by any girl I was dating father. And truth be told, most of the girls I dated, I never even met their fathers. Half of them I don't even know if they had fathers.
Intimacy.
But
Intimacy.
your intention was different too. Like you to your own confession, you was a hoe.
Right. But I also had girlfriends. Like and I know it's gonna sound real hypocritical, so I accept it. I had long-term relationships. I was in committed relationships in high school. But if I broke up with you, then I went on my little spree. But if I'm with you, I'm with you. Now, also, there was times I dipped out, did my thing, but I didn't treat you like I treated them. If you was my quote unquote, I know the air quotes is killing you, quote unquote main girl, I treated you as such. I opened the door for you. I didn't let you walk on the street side. If it rained, I put my jacket on you. I showed you in public. If you wasn't my main girl, you didn't get that treatment. Because that's not what we here for. And yes, that was a very much lack of maturity because I was 16, 17 years old, 18 years old. But as I got older and I look back, it's like that, that song, if I look back over my life, and these are things I could teach my sons, like, yo, you don't want to be like your father. My son Damon tell me all the time. And I love the fact my son Damon is in a committed relationship with the same girl, been with her for almost 2 years now. And he loves her to death. He even told me, Daddy, one day I'm going to make this girl my wife. I know I ain't ready yet, but one day I'm going to make her my wife. That made me proud as a father. Because now we're breaking generational curses. I'm teaching you how to treat her. I'm treating you what not to do. Yeah, your mother and I got divorced, but that's because we shouldn't have been married in the first place. And it takes a very mature person to say that. We shouldn't have been married in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
It shouldn't have been. I said, truth be told, them, I shouldn't have had talked to your mother in the first place. Shouldn't have even had a conversation with this woman. But I was thinking with the wrong head.
I hear you.
All right. And
What's
boom.
that next one? Let's go to that next one. What's that next? I'm excited, man. I want to hear that next one. I'm
So, but
anxious.
just let me finish this real quick.
Sure, sure.
So, when you, as a father, it is our job to teach our sons how to be men and teach our daughters how to be treated as a woman. Like my daughter used to grow up, and then she was certain things she could not wear, and she started repeating it. She was like, "My father's not raising a hoe. I can't wear this. He's not going to allow me to wear this," because she knew, like, I'm not raising a thought. I'm raising a young lady.
Mm-hmm.
You're already going to be looked at differently because you got melon. So you need to be different. You need to show them that you're not the stereotype. And this is where we come in, that you teach. And also, this is another lesson I learned. And Derek, I know you can probably agree with me on this. Your kids watch you how you treat your spouse. Your children watch how you treat your significant other. So if you don't treat them proper, it's more than likely they're not going to treat their significant other the way they should. Because once again, it's how they was raised.
Mm-hmm.
It's what you saw.
Right, right.
So if I see my parents arguing all the time because that's how they settled problems, guess what I'm going to do?
Wow. So,
Gotta break it somewhere.
So here's the we'll end on this note, because we kind of talked about it a little bit when we talked a little bit about intimacy, but and the sexual dynamic. Does a woman who is in her masculine energy and an individual who they say is a simp, is that a problem in the bedroom? Is it somebody that's supposed to be, according to our gender roles, is it somebody that's supposed to initiate? Is there somebody that's supposed to be in control? Is there a person that's supposed to, um, receive versus give? All of these types of things that people tend to have issues and conversations around. Are they gender role specific, or are people just doing too much?
ladies first. Ladies first.
Viva,
Snow.
you ain't said a whole lot this whole conversation.
Hey, I've been trying, but
You,
talk.
you know how to cut me off. Don't act brand new. But go ahead.
Let's get it back in your head.
Violence. Y'all heard that, right? Domestic violence. She just threatened me all over the
Uh,
internet.
I didn't hear it. Go
The
ahead,
internet
Viva.
heard it. Courtney heard it.
No, you didn't. I wouldn't say it's gender roles. It's who initiates it first. Some people can initiate it more, some people don't. Then if you initiate it, the other person might take over certain things in the bedroom.
Mm, okay.
Short and sweet.
So I'm going to
Sure.
be. I'm going to try to be short and sweet.
Okay.
I don't think it's gender specific. But if you, and I think also, and this is going to be something that we can talk about at a later date, Chris. Love language.
Mm-hmm.
So if you know that you are with a person that has kinetic energy, and their number one love language is emotion or affection, and they're the ones always initiating the affection, but the partner rarely does it, they may feel some kind of way. Not saying that you don't love that person because you don't always initiate, but sometimes when you initiate, so the one is always initiating, they may it's a confirmation. It's a
Mm-hmm.
confirmation saying that, okay, you feel me the same way I feel you. And it does not necessarily have to lead to sexual intercourse. It's just the intimacy connection that the other person is looking for.
Yeah.
So yeah, like something. Yeah, I'm being blunt. My love language is touch. It is touch. So sometimes if she just walks over and touch my beard and go about her business, I'm like, all right, I'm good. I'm okay. Because to me, that's a level of intimacy. So I don't think it's really a gender role in that situation. Now, if you have, as you said, a woman that's in her masculinity and a dude that's a simp and she just always takes control, like, get over here, it might be a little problem. Like, you might be like, you're a little rough, shorty. I need you to fall back a little bit. All right? So, and that's where the emotional maturity comes in, like Keisha said. That's that emotional maturity. So I feel like before we get intimate, we need to have emotional maturity. You need to know what my love language is. I need to know what your love language is. I need to know how to communicate with you.
Talk.
I need to know how to communicate with you on that level. Because if I don't know that your love language is gifts, like you just like to shower people with gifts because that's your love language. That's how you connect to people. And I just see you just always buy me stuff, and I don't know that's your thing. I'm going to think like, why is she trying to buy my affection? Not realizing that's your love language.
Mm-hmm.
So, that could be a show topic for you at some point in time.
Oh, it's on the list.
I feel, like again, like they both said, maturity, sexual maturity, emotional maturity. Um, like you asked about that whole bedroom energy and role genders. No, the goal should always be to share that moment with each other, to share with each other.
Mm-hmm.
And that is not something he needs to be doing or she needs to be doing. The goal is to be with each other.
Right.
Intimacy, see into me. You know what I'm saying? To
Mm-hmm.
to to touch a person in those areas where you know that they're satisfied. And I'm not even talking just physically. Sex starts way before we get to that bedroom.
Yes, it does.
And if you're just kicking off the sex in the bedroom, you're losing out. That's short lived.
Mm.
A real man, a real woman studies the room. They read the room because every approach isn't the same for every situation. Sometimes it takes that softer side, and it takes that firmer side, that firmer level of thinking. And we have to be taught these things, and we have to be brave enough and open enough to learn from your spouse. Your spouse has something to show you. She has something to teach you. He has something to teach you. Y'all both two strangers coming together. I mean, hopefully y'all not strangers by this time, but I mean in terms of sharing with each other. You know what I'm saying? That you always present a new gift to each other, a new way to share that intimate space and time with each other. And like you said, that's a whole nother show. But man, a lot of our thinking, a lot of our approaches is a very, very, very surface approach, a very shallow level, man. We see things so shallow, and we need to, be better with that. It'll help us all in moving forward as a unit in marriage and relationship.
And I think right there is a good place to kind of put a pin in it. I knew we weren't going to get to everything this evening just because of the nature of the topic
I
of the
understand.
show. Like there's
Part
still so
two,
much. There's still
part
so
two.
much involved, and it definitely will. We'll have to come back and do a part two to this.
Chris, I gotta ask you, what were you drinking on? Yeah, we're sitting here. We don't have drinks like what?
I know. I was getting ready to say it. Like
Nice. I see what you did there, brother Derek. I see what you did there, brother Derek. That's nice. Nice little segue for the plug, sir. Nice little segue for the plug.
Cam. Hey, Cam. I do what I can, Cam. I do what I can, Cam.
Oh my goodness.
So, first of all, before I say anything, thanks everybody for all of the comments. This is a really great conversation. And the whole purpose of this podcast is to be able to create those spaces where we can have these conversations. Because I think a lot of the times we have conversations with individuals who are in some of the same spaces that we're in, and there's no resolution. There's no place to move forward. There's no place to say, okay, well, that sounds like a really good idea. I need to try that, or I need to do this. I'm exceedingly happy that this conversation has happened, as well as it'll continue to happen when we come back for part two. But this is mint lemonade. And I actually have been very nice about drinking it because I don't want to be like guzzling this thing down with all y'all looking at me, because then I'm gonna feel judgment. Um,
No judgment.
but this is absolutely delicious. And anybody on here that heard me speak at church on Sunday knows that I love a good lemonade. Like, lemonade is my absolute favorite drink. And when Derek told me he had a mint one, I was like,
Hey,
yes,
can I ask you a question?
very much. Huh?
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
Do you think that if you met a black person and they don't like lemonade, do you think they black card should be taken from them? Because
No,
I've had this conversation.
absolutely not.
So you don't think their black card should be taken? if a
No,
black
because
person-
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
no,
yes,
that's
I'm
like
with Brother
saying
Dirk.
that's
Yes.
like saying if I met a black person who didn't eat fried chicken, should I take their black card?
Yes.
No, it's like if I met a
Yes.
black person who ain't never seen Boys in the Hood, I should take their black card.
It
Like,
depends. It depends on what their age is. It depends. If you like 20 something, I get it. 30, maybe. But if you're over 40 and you haven't seen Boys in the Hood, take your black card. That's like somebody that grew up in the 80s, never seen Breaking. Take your black card. I'm just
Okay.
saying.
So first of all, Naeem, mind your business. No, it is not coffee or tea. It's lemonade, like I said, mint lemonade to be exact. Let me put it right here. Mint lemonade. Y'all can't see it, but there's actually pieces of like mint floating around in here. Like, this stuff is absolutely delicious. Um,
Courtney,
but-
I didn't put you out there. You put yourself out there, man. I was just asking a hypothetical, real life question. Okay, so
And-
you put yourself out there.
and first of all, you can't take my black card, and I ain't never seen Boys in the Hood, and I don't plan on ever seeing it.
We gonna have to talk.
Just not anything that I'm interested in seeing. But
Come on
this
now,
is
Ricky!
this is one of the many products of Soup Solutions. They have several types of lemonades and smoothies, and they have sea moss in them. So not only are they delicious, but they are actually really good for you. So it is allergy season, and sea moss does wonders for the allergies, along with a lot of the other products, fresh fruit and all of that kind of stuff that goes into the lemonade. So I'm telling y'all, and I don't endorse very many things, because I feel like if I don't like it, I don't care how much you paying me, and Derek is not paying me. But it's absolutely delicious. They also make several different types of meals. I had the Derek. What was the cabbage?
Chicken curry cabbage.
The chicken curry cabbage.
I want that.
He gave it to me, and I started eating it as I was walking away, because the sheer smell of it like made me hungry. Like, I had to stop myself eating it so that I could have some for lunch the next day. And this time I got chili.
Supreme chili.
And I'm being very nice to not eat it
That's what's up.
on camera. Okay. So you need to follow, if you are not following them on the social medias, Instagram, Facebook, they are called Soup Solutions. Okay. That's how you can get connected to get the benefit of trying all these things. This mint lemonade, not the only lemonade they have. They got a honey half and half that is absolutely delicious. There was you gotta say it because I'm gonna pronounce it wrong. What's the name? What's the
Blueberry Geminade.
Geminade? Blueberry. Okay,
I'm with that.
just just really good homemade delicious food. And I'm telling you, y'all know I'm a pastry chef. I cook. I'm not endorsing nobody who food ain't right. If I wouldn't give it to you and it wouldn't be that level of caliber, I'm not telling nobody about it. But this stuff is that level of caliber. So please follow Soup Solutions. You can connect with them through the DM function on either Instagram or Facebook. They'll be able to tell you the menu. They'll be able to give you pricing. They do family size meals for the week. The only day they don't work is on Sunday. So
Hallelujah.
everybody got to take a rest, and they, you know, Derek and Keisha are love and hustle. So they hustling with the several lines of business, but they also got to love one another and keep the marriage solid. So got to take time to be able to put the business aside for a second and take care of each other, which they do very, very well.
Hey, brother Derek.
Yes, sir.
Um, I'm going to get. I'm going to follow your page, and I'm going to reach out to Chris, and get her to give you my personal information because I saw the podcast when you and your wife was on here, and I would like to extend an invite to you and your wife to come to our show, Two Fat Guy Podcast. We're starting a series called Bosses,
Okay.
and we definitely want to speak to entrepreneurs, especially entrepreneurs who are married and look like us.
That's what's up.
And I really enjoyed the interview that you did with Chris. So I would love to extend an invite to you and your wife. Chris, you better not. You better not kill my girl. I'm gonna punch you in your throat.
Right.
You gonna run the corner, and then you go pull it out your mouth slow. You know what?
That's honey butter cornbread she's chewing on, y'all.
Honey
But I heard you, Kev,
butter
and
cornbread.
yeah, I heard you, Kev, and that'll be an honor. And thank you, Chris, for having me again. And it's been an honor to be amongst Brother Kevin and Sister Viva.
Viva,
Viva.
like
I
Viva
got
Las
it. I
Vegas.
got it. It's locked in. It's been a pleasure and an honor being on the panel with you two today. I really appreciate it, and we got to connect. We got to
Definitely.
connect. All right.
You after the show.
There's definitely something coming down the pipeline. And I can kind of talk about it here. I want to do it during the summer where all the folks that have been guests on my show get an opportunity to, in a group setting, kind of talk about who they are and what they do. So it's like literally a presentation that you give to the other folks in the room, because this is all about connection and continuing to support each other in the things that we do. So I'm saying it not just for us, but for all of those that have been a part of the show since the beginning. Guys, get involved, get connected to Soup Solutions so you can get some real good food. Because I promise you, I'm smashing all of this at the end of the show, even though it is 9:30 at night. I gotta have some of it. So thank you guys very much.
Can I plug in?
Kevin, what's going on new with Two Fat Guys podcast?
Well, Two Fat Guys Podcast, I'm so glad you asked. We are in the season of WrestleMania. So we are continuing some of the greatest WrestleMania moments, dealing with the Attitude Era, the Ruthless Aggression Era, and the PG Era. So we're going to be wrapping it up tomorrow night. Get it locked in with us. Me and my tag team partner, the dynamic duo known as Two Fat Guys Podcast, right here on Facebook and on YouTube. Check us out, 8 o'clock tomorrow. Yeah.
So with the radio voice. My last announcement is, guys, we have also gotten on Spotify. So I know.
You gotta learn how to use your sound effects. That was a moment. Y'all learn how to use your sound effects.
Yeah, well, let me figure out how to make sure y'all get on the screen first before I start dealing with all the bells and whistles.
It is a whole
Let
button
me
that says
get the
transition.
let me get the
There's
basics.
a whole button that says transition. Okay?
Let me get the basics. And then, but before I get too far in this, Naeem, I have to be invited to the cookouts because there will be no desserts if I'm not invited to the cookout. So mind your business.
Hey, Naeem, inbox me if you want to be on the show tomorrow.
Since we're on Spotify, if you go to my Facebook page, I'm going to post it also on the Coffee and Tea Facebook page so you can get connected to the actual Spotify account. Please like, I guess you follow on Spotify. I'm new to this
So
platform.
Spotify, since we're on Spotify, you will follow and you will like your episode. So then for everybody that wants to get updated podcast postings from Coffee and Tea, make sure you follow the Spotify page. And she fancy because she not just got audio, she got video too. I
Yep.
peeped it. She fancy.
Thank
We ain't
you.
putting video up there yet. We ain't there yet, but you fancy.
I try. So, my last episode from season 1, the season finale, Coffee and Tea After Dark, is on there. Derek and Keisha's episode, Love and Hustle, is on there. And this will be posted tomorrow. So you'll see this episode on there as well. So like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff, because you'll find out whatever's happening next with Coffee and Tea. I'll be announcing some new shows that we're going to have coming up. So you'll be able to connect with me so you too can be a guest on the podcast. Guys, thank you so much for being a part. Derek, Viva, Kevin, thank you so very much for always being so willing to be a part of the show, sharing your wisdom, sharing your thoughts with me and the viewers. Is always a great conversation when I have you guys. So thank
It's
you.
always a pleasure to be on here. It's always fun. And even for me, it's enlightening too, because Brother Derek, you're a brother of wisdom, and I learned some things from you, sir. So it's always a circle. So
Likewise, brother, from you and your outstanding wife. And I want to extend the greetings to you, Chris and Kevin and Viva, from my wife Keisha, who's supporting the podcast this evening. But when you see me, you see her, and when you see her, you see me.
Most definitely. Thank you guys so much. See you on the next episode.
hasta luego. 8 o'clock.